The next definition is cover plate. Cover plate is a really typical piece of item that you're going to have. If you're a hollow metal distributor, you're going to have possibly 12 or more different line items of just filler plates, is really how we term them. If you're going to fill something, you're going to blank it off. You are certainly going to cover it. Cover plate, they define it as a removable piece of metal used to cover the hardware preparation or provide access to the interior of a door or frame. Yeah, absolutely. So most common, in no particular order, most common applications is obviously covering a strike prep and a frame. You've got push-pull hardware, you're going to need a frame filler, a frame ASA 4 7/8 strike filler. You're going to need an edge filler for the door, whether it has an 86 edge or a 161. You might need filler plates for the face if you're doing an application, possibly with an exit device. You can very commonly take a door that's hung on a continuous hinge, and then you're going to want hinge fillers for the door and the frame itself. If you're going to be doing a pair of doors and they've got surface vertical rod preparations on both doors, you might use a couple of mortise lock or government 86 preps, blank out those edges, maybe a split astragal application to finish that off, whatever it might be. But filler plates are really common, and they're really common because a hollow metal distributor is not going to stock every possible derivative of door, frame, and stick material that has every possible prep, including no prep. So let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the first list of filler plates or cover plates that I think of.
If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video.
So cover plate, a removable piece of metal used to cover the hardware preparation or provide access to the interior of a door or frame. So we talked about the cover plate being a filler plate and blanking something off, but provide access to the interior of door or frame. There are definitely pieces of hardware that you need to have a cover plate, and what I'm thinking specifically for that would be Schlage, and I think Sargent as well, has versions of their full dummy sets that the only way to get them installed is to access that from the edge of the door, and for that you would certainly need a cover plate. Let's dive into, well, first of all, using them as filler plates. The table that I built for this purpose, if you searched for Hager 336A and you scroll down, you'll see all of Hager's filler plates that we stock. And, you know, the description is here, what it's used with, the size, videos if they exist, but Hager's product catalog is here. Now, Hager is not the company I think of when it comes to filler plates necessarily for hollow metal, but it is the company that I sometimes think of, whether it be Hager or Donjo or Gulfport or Rockwood. Countless people make these hollow metal accessories to go into this material. Hager's just the one I think of because it's easy for me to add some of these to the stock order, so I do that. 336As, that's going to be the edge filler plate for a 161 prep. 336B, you want to blank out an 86 edge, a mortise lock pocket, there you go. One that's not really common is here, the 336K. Well, it's weird. I either never sell it, or when I do, I sell 20 at a time. The flush bolt filler. So if you've got a 6 3/4 by 1 prep in the edge of an inactive door for flush bolts, that's your filler for it. So this is a neat little table that we've built. Let's take a look at Gulfport. And DKS would be another company that just came to mind. They were the remnants of Amweld. People from Amweld ended up at DKS. So when you find Gulfport in our site, click on the manufacturer's page, product catalog. Let's see if I can just do a Control F for filler. Yep, page 34. They've got pages of filler plates. Here we go. Flush bolt filler, T-strike, ASA filler, deadbolt versions of an ASA strike, Hinge fillers, very common, very typical. Hinge fillers will come in different widths, 1.5 inch, 1 5/8, 1 3/4. The ones that you do for beveled edge doors is not the same one you do generally for a square edge door, not the same one you do for a frame. 1.5 is going to be the right size and width if you're dealing with doors that are beveled, that have a typical 1/4 inch back set, or also a square edge door if you've got the handing plate on there. 1.5 is going to be pretty typical. If you're dealing with 1 3/4, that really tells me that you're dealing with a frame, but you have to be careful with the 1 3/4 in the sense of you could also be dealing with just applying it to the edge of a door. The problem with using 1 3/4 on a frame is if you're doing a full surface concealed hinge and you have your frame and you've got your door, you don't want that filler plate to stick out too much, because then you're not going to be able to slap your continuous hinge on there, okay? So I really like the 1 5/8 because I never bump into the problem of that hinge plate sticking off the face of the door too much. And whether or not there's a minor amount that's not covered doesn't matter to me, because that hinge is going to cover it up. Because what you are really looking to do is to, when you open the door to 90 degrees and look at the rabbet, you're blanking those hinge plates off. EPT filler, you don't run into that often, but occasionally you do for power transfer. I would imagine that's for an EPT by Von Duprin, that 1 1/4 by 9 1/16. Filler plates for 2 1/8 inch holes if you've got an exit device sitting over them. Weldable filler plates, if you're a hollow metal shop, you probably just want blanks and you're going to weld them, grind them, bondo them, be done with it, never see it again. So lots of filler plates or cover plates. Now, the sense of actually calling it a cover plate, I just had the Von Duprin catalog open. Okay, so here's an application of a cover plate. Overhead concealed, center hung or offset hung door closers used in aluminum storefront. They're always going to have cover plates that will allow you to remove that to get to the closer body itself. That would be a bona fide example of that. So in terms of filler plates, we talked about that from a multitude of manufacturers. A cover plate, yeah, provide access to the interior of door or frame. Really good. Cutoff stop, I think that's also known as a hospital stop. That's how I would call it. Let's talk about those next.
Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.